You don't need hours to understand someone. Sometimes a few seconds are enough if you know what to look for.
Right, because people reveal who they are all the time. And it's not through words, it's through these really small, completely unnoticed behaviors.
Yeah, the problem is most people just miss them.
Exactly. We're totally focused on the wrong things.
So, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to unlock the ultimate shortcut to reading the people around you. We're going to synthesize behavioral science, FBI interrogation techniques, and emotional intelligence studies.
Because the truth is your brain is constantly leaking information.
Yeah.
I mean, long before you even consciously formulate a sentence.
Oh, wait, let's unpack this. Why does that happen?
Well, it comes down to the limbic system. That's the primitive emotional part of the brain. It reacts to stimuli, threats, comfort, whatever, instantly.
Before you even realize it.
Precisely. And meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex is like scrambling to catch up and formulate a polite lie. But the physical reaction has already happened.
Which brings us to our first point. Watch their eyes, not their words. Because words can lie, but eyes react instantly.
Yeah, avoiding eye contact or forcing it too much often tells you way more than anything they actually say.
So what are we looking for specifically?
Well, if you look at the interrogation strategies of Chase Hughes, he focuses heavily on blink rates. We don't consciously control our blinking very well.
Right.
So it becomes this incredibly reliable indicator of internal stress or cognitive load. When you lie, your brain is working in overdrive and your blink rate goes up.
Like how much up?
Way up. Hughes says a deceptive person can blink 75 to 80 times a minute without even knowing they're doing it.
Oh, wow. That is frantic.
It is. But Hughes also talks about the opposite, which I think is honestly way creepier.
It's a prey focus.
Yes. When you're dealing with someone who is highly manipulative or maybe a psychopath, their blink rate drops to almost nothing.
Because they don't feel the stress.
Exactly. They don't feel the moral weight of the lie, so their limbic system is perfectly calm. They just lock onto you with this predatory intensity.
But wait, I have to push back here for a second. Reading eyes isn't just a biological thing, right? There's culture to consider.
Oh, absolutely. The EBS Go research on cultural eye contact is huge here. Context is everything.
Because in Western cultures, making eye contact means you're polite and confident. And avoiding it means you're, I don't know, shifty.
Right. But in a lot of East Asian, Caribbean, or African cultures, looking away is a sign of respect, especially with an authority figure. Prolonged eye contact would be super aggressive.
And then in some Arab cultures, it's the opposite again. You're supposed to hold intense eye contact with your peers to absorb the truth of their words.
Yes, exactly.
So if eye contact means completely different things depending on where you're from, isn't this all just a guessing game? It feels like trying to read a dashboard warning light without knowing what make of car you're driving.
Well, what's fascinating here is that it's not about the absolute amount of eye contact. You don't need to know their whole cultural background.
You don't.
No, you just need to establish their baseline. You observe what's normal for them in the first couple minutes of normal, low-stakes conversation.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you're not looking for good or bad eye contact. You're looking for the change, the deviation from their own baseline. If they were looking away respectfully, but suddenly they lock eyes when you ask about a project deadline, that shift reveals everything.
Okay, that makes total sense. So moving outward from the eyes. Point 2. Notice how they treat others.
Mm-hmm.
The way someone treats people they don't need tells you exactly who they are, not how they treat you.
This ties perfectly into Catherine Nicholson's work on emotional intelligence, or EQ, in the workplace. People have this huge misconception that EQ just means being nice.
Which it doesn't.
Not at all. Being nice is easy when everything is going well.
Yeah.
You see someone's actual character in the subtle power dynamics of a room.
Nicholson talks about leaders acting as emotional thermostats, right?
Yes. They read the room and adjust the temperature. For example, in a hybrid meeting, let's say someone pitches an idea and there's just dead silence.
Awkward.
Very. A manager with low EQ might just assume silence means agreement and keep pushing forward. But an emotionally intelligent manager feels that friction. They see the hesitation and actively invite the quieter people to speak up.
It's basically the classic first date test. You don't judge a date by how they treat you, you judge them by how they treat the waiter.
Spot on.
But in a corporate environment, literally everyone is trained to play the game. Everyone knows you're supposed to smile at the receptionist. So how do you spot the difference between real emotional intelligence and just, performative politeness?
Well, performative politeness is rigid. Real EQ is adaptable. Someone playing the game will be super respectful to the CEO, but if a junior staffer gets upset or frustrated, they won't know what to do. They'll probably just talk over them.
Because it's not in the script.
Exactly. An emotionally intelligent person adapts to those unexpected emotions in real time, no matter who they're talking to.
Which brings us to point 3. Pay attention to inconsistency. When someone is faking it, the mask eventually slips. And when actions don't match words, believe the actions. Because consistency is just incredibly hard to fake.
Yeah, Patrick King calls this looking for clusters of incongruence.
Clusters, meaning multiple things at once.
Right, because the human brain can only consciously control maybe 1 or 2 behaviors at a time. I can fake a smile, and I can control my tone of voice.
But you can't control your blink rate, your breathing, your foot angle, and your smile all at the exact same time.
Exactly. The audio says one thing, but the video is broadcasting something else entirely.
Yeah.
Like when someone rubs their temples, sighs loudly, and says, "I'm fine, nothing's wrong."
Right, the friction is super obvious, but it's not always physical, is it? Sometimes it's the words themselves.
Yeah, Marcel Klein's research on linguistic presuppositions is wild. Basically, we leak our true beliefs through our hidden assumptions.
Give me an example of that.
So if a salesperson says, "Here is why you should buy this," the hidden presupposition is that they believe you don't actually want to buy it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're unconsciously operating from this mindset of resistance. And Klein pairs these verbal clues with rapid physical observation. Things like noticing long acrylic nails as a sign of seeking attention.
Wait, he also talks about hair roots, right?
Yeah, calculating when someone dyed their hair based on root length.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, but also where I have to play devil's advocate. Aren't we bordering on Sherlock Holmes territory here?
How do you mean?
Well, if I see someone with an inch of undyed roots who uses a negative phrase, am I really supposed to assume they're going through a traumatic breakup and trying to manipulate me? Maybe they just didn't have time to go to the salon.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you're totally right to be cautious. Treating it like a parlor game doesn't work. No single gesture means anything in a vacuum. Profilers don't look at hair roots and say, "Ah, trauma." They look at it as a disruption in the baseline. If someone neurally has a heavily curated appearance and suddenly they don't, it shows they ran out of cognitive bandwidth.
So it's about spotting the friction, the audio not matching the video.
Exactly. You're looking for a cluster of these anomalies.
Which leads us to point 4. Look at their reactions, not just their actions. Anyone can act nice when things are easy, but pressure reveals the truth.
Absolutely. Watch how they react when things don't go their way.
Because the quickest way to force those inconsistencies to the surface is to apply some pressure.
Right, because pressure bypasses the prefrontal cortex and hits the limbic system directly. King points out that those old survival responses, fight, flight, or freeze, they still happen today, just in the boardroom instead of the jungle.
Yeah, a freeze response today might just look like someone locking their legs around their office chair when you ask a hard question.
Or flight angling their feet toward the door, like their body literally wants to bolt.
And a fight response isn't throwing a punch. It's, picking a verbal argument over some tiny detail just to deflect.
Spot on. And when that pressure hits, watch how people try to self-soothe. King calls these pacifying behaviors.
Oh, these are fascinating, like adjusting a tie.
Yeah, men will often adjust their tie or squeeze the back of their neck. Women might touch that little indent between their collarbones, the suprasternal notch, or play with a necklace.
Because it actually lowers their heart rate, right?
It does. It stimulates the vagus nerve.
Mm-hmm.
There's also ventilating, where people pull their shirt collar away from their neck because stress makes them physically hot.
And leg cleansing. Wiping your hands down your thighs while sitting.
Yeah, wiping away the sweat, but also give your brain tactile feedback to ground yourself.
Think about the last time you were put on the spot in a meeting. What did your hands do? Did you rub your neck?
We all do it.
But how do we actively test this, without acting like a hostile interrogator?
By managing their cognitive load. If you ask an unexpected question, or even just stay completely silent after they give an excuse, you spike their cognitive load.
So their brain is working so hard to keep up the lie that the limbic system just leaks the pacifying behaviors.
Exactly. They touch their neck, they blink faster, the mask slips.
That is wild. Okay, so we've covered blink rates, baselines, treating waiters, linguistic leaks, and pacifying behaviors. It's a lot of data, but point 5 is maybe the most important. Trust the feeling you ignore.
Yes.
That small feeling that something is off isn't random. It's your brain picking up patterns you don't consciously see.
A Columbia Business School study proved this with a concept called thin slicing. They had judges rate people based on video clips ranging from 5 seconds to 5 minutes.
And the 5-second results were crazy accurate.
Extremely. In just 5 seconds, people could accurately judge traits like extroversion and intelligence. 60 seconds was optimal, but our intuition is wildly capable almost instantly.
It's like what Malcolm Gladwell wrote about, or John Gottman predicting divorce with 95% accuracy just by watching a couple talk for a few minutes.
Exactly.
Your conscious mind is listening to the words, but your subconscious is tracking the blink rate, the leg cleansing, everything. But here's my question. If our gut feeling is so scientifically accurate, why do we constantly get betrayed or surprised by people?
This raises an important question. It's because of a concept called defense of the ego. We actively ignore our own highly accurate thin slicing because we want to believe a comfortable lie.
Give me a real-world example of that.
Say you're interviewing someone from your alma mater. You want them to be great. So even though your limbic system is screaming that they are displaying aggressive behaviors and their blink rate is off, your ego overrides it. You bury the red flags.
We talk ourselves out of the truth.
We do. We're conditioned to be nice, so we ignore the data.
So what does this all mean? The truth is, people are always showing you who they are. You just have to stop ignoring it. Watch their eyes. Notice how they treat people they don't need. Look for inconsistency. Watch how they react under pressure. And trust your gut. Because once you learn to read people, you stop being surprised by them.
I'd like to leave you with one final thought, actually. It's from Carl Jung's shadow theory.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
We've talked all about reading other people, but Jung said we often project our own repressed traits, our shadow, onto others. So if you have an intense, immediate negative reaction to someone you just met,
Yeah.
ask yourself, are you actually reading them? Or did their behavior just trigger a repressed part of your own shadow? Sometimes the person you read most clearly in a stranger's face is yourself.
Oh, wow. That is a lot to process. Remember, the data is always there. You just have to start paying attention to the details you've been missing.